You smile, you laugh, you nod at the right moments. You show up, polished, pleasant, put together, and yet, when the room is quiet, when no one is watching, something inside you feels hollow. That's because what the world sees isn't who you are. It's who you've been taught to be. In psychology, we call it the persona, the social mask we wear to survive. It helps us blend in, be accepted, avoid judgment. But there's a silent cost to wearing it for too long. You smile so people won't ask questions. You agree so they won't reject you. You shine so they don't see you breaking. And one day, you wake up realizing they've fallen in love with your mask and not your soul. This is not happiness. It's emotional exile with a beautiful disguise. That's why your smile doesn't reach your soul, because your soul is tired of pretending. It's tired of hiding behind curated emotions and filtered realities. And deep down, it's whispering, I want to be seen, not admired, not applauded, just seen. This video isn't here to judge you. It's here to strip away the performance, to help you see what psychology calls the self-alienation trap, when your identity becomes a role and your joy becomes a lie. This is your wake-up call to reclaim your self-awareness, to question the social mask, and to remember, you weren't born to be accepted. You were born to be real. Because the most dangerous kind of pain is the one you learn to smile through. The smile that hides the silence. We've been taught to smile like it's a shield, to weaponize politeness, to cover pain with a grin. Especially in Western culture, and particularly in America, smiling is more than just a gesture. It's an expectation, a performance, a silent contract that says, don't ask, don't feel, don't be too much. Smiling becomes a mask we wear not out of joy, but out of survival. To look okay, and when we're not. To be accepted, to be easy to be around, and so, the silence begins. Emotional suppression becomes second nature, and the more we fake being okay, the more disconnected we become from what we truly feel. But here's the truth no one talks about. You can't heal what you keep pretending isn't broken. And the more you smile to hide the silence, the louder that silence grows inside. That's why your smile doesn't reach your soul, because your soul knows it's not real. Your soul remembers what it means to feel, fully, messily, beautifully human. And every time you fake that smile to make others comfortable, you dim your own fire. But there's another way, somewhere inside you. There is a circle of light. A quiet flame, not loud, but steady. It's the part of you that hasn't given up. It whispers, not screams. Let me be seen. Let me breathe. Let me live without the mask. Psychology doesn't ask you to reject your smile. It asks you to understand it. To realize when it's a true reflection of joy, and when it's just another layer in the mask you've been taught to wear. This is the beginning of self-awareness. When you stop asking, how do I look? And start asking, how do I feel? And when you do, something cracks, a small fracture in the social mask. And through it, light leaks in. The light of truth, the light of liberation. There is a door right now inside you. And behind it is the version of you that doesn't have to perform to be loved. The moment you choose to step through it, you stop smiling for others and start living for yourself. That's not rebellion. That's returning home, because the smile that doesn't reach your soul isn't your truth. It's your prison. And today you hold the key, performing for approval, not connection. Why pretending feels safer than being seen? We don't even notice when it starts. Maybe it was the first time someone praised you for being easygoing, or when you learned that being agreeable kept the peace. So you smiled, not because you felt joy, but because it kept you safe. In psychology, this is what we call performative identity, when your sense of self becomes a role, carefully crafted to earn approval, not authentic connection. We become actors in our own lives. We learn the script, be nice, be likable, be enough. And without realizing it, We trade truth for applause. Social media accelerates the illusion. We post curated joy, filtered memories, perfect smiles. We edit our pain out of the frame, because pain doesn't get likes. And slowly, the mask becomes more lovable than the soul underneath. And here's where it gets dangerous. You begin to feel that who you really are isn't good enough to be loved. So you keep performing, you keep pleasing, you keep disappearing. They love the version of me that isn't real. This is not connection. It's emotional exile in plain sight. But somewhere deep within, there's still a circle of light, untouched by applause, unshaped by expectations. A faint flame, steady, patient, waiting for you to stop performing and start listening. That's the real you, the one behind the mask. And it's not broken. It's just buried. Self-awareness begins the moment you ask, am I being seen or just being accepted? Do they love me or the character I've created to survive? And when that question hits you, something cracks. A fracture in the polished image, a spark escapes the shell. And through that crack, light leaks in. Not the spotlight of approval, but the light of truth. You realize, this isn't rebellion. This is a return. A return to your inner fire, to your voice, to your freedom. There is a door inside you right now. Behind it is the version of you that doesn't need to perform to be worthy. And the moment you step through, you stop chasing applause and start living from alignment. Because real connection doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. The shadow you're afraid to face. What hides behind the smile? You smile, and the world smiles back. But behind your smile, there's a silence, a void. A quiet ache that no one sees, not even you, most of the time. The truth is, the emptiness you feel doesn't come from what's missing around you, but from what's buried inside you. We don't just hide our pain from others, we hide it from ourselves. That moment you swallowed your sadness to seem strong. That anger you never expressed because you didn't want to cause trouble. That fear you denied because fear is weakness. All of it, every suppressed feeling, every abandoned truth, gets pushed into your psychological shadow. Carl Jung called it the part of ourselves we refuse to see, but that still controls us. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This is why you feel lost even when everything on the outside looks fine, because inside, you're fractured. You're smiling on the surface, while drowning in parts of yourself you haven't faced. And here's the hardest truth, that smile you show the world. The one that says I'm okay when you're not. It's not protecting you. It's hiding the part of you that most needs to be seen. But there is a way through, inside of you, beyond the smile, beyond the shadow. There's still a circle of light, a faint inner fire that refuses to die. It flickers quietly behind your fear, behind the mask, and waits. For the moment you're brave enough to stop pretending. That's what self-awareness truly is. Not perfection, not endless positivity, but the raw courage to say, there's a part of me I've been running from, and I'm ready to come home to it. When you face your shadow, something cracks. The polished mask begins to break. The light starts to leak through. And suddenly, you're no longer trapped in performance. You're stepping toward freedom. Because you can't be whole if you keep denying your wounds. And you can't be truly loved if you never show what hurts. Somewhere inside you is a door. And behind it is not a better version of you, but a real one who no longer hides. One who smiles not to survive, but because they've been set free. True joy begins with truth, the psychology of smiling without hiding. We're told that if we just smile more, we'll feel better. As if healing could be forced, as if happiness could be worn like makeup. But the truth, the one that psychology teaches, and that your soul already knows, is this. True healing doesn't begin with more smiles. It begins with more honesty. Honesty with yourself. Honesty with what you feel, even when it's not pretty, even when it's inconvenient, messy, or painful. Because every time you fake a smile to keep the peace, every time you laugh to avoid the silence, you bury the very parts of you that are begging to be heard. Psychologist Carl Rogers believed that true healing begins the moment a person feels deeply understood, not fixed, not judged, just heard. Carl Jung taught that wholeness isn't found in perfection. It's found in embracing the shadow, the messy, rejected parts of ourselves. And that's the paradox. The more you pretend to be okay, the emptier you feel. But when you allow yourself to feel, truly feel, that's when the emptiness begins to dissolve. That's when joy begins to rise, not the artificial kind, the kind that's rooted in alignment, not expectation. A joy that comes from being whole, not being perfect. Because the most dangerous kind of pain isn't the loud kind. It's the silent kind. The kind we hide behind polished smiles and polite nods. The kind that looks like I'm fine on the outside, but feels like a slow, quiet burn on the inside. There is a light behind that mask you wear. A faint, flickering fire that still remembers what it means to be real. And the moment you stop performing and start listening, the moment you stop hiding and start speaking, that light begins to grow. Self-awareness isn't about constantly improving. It's about finally noticing. Noticing when your smile isn't joy. It's protection. Noticing when your silence isn't peace. It's fear. And when you notice it, you can choose something different. You can step out of the role. You can let the mask fall. You can feel, heal, speak, and finally, be free. Because joy doesn't begin with performance. Joy begins with truth. Maybe you've gotten so good at playing the part that even you forgot it's a performance. You wake up, wear the smile, say the right things, stay agreeable. And somewhere along the way, the real you gets quieter. But here's what psychology reminds us. You don't lose yourself all at once. You lose yourself slowly, choice by silent choice. And yet, the fact that you feel the emptiness means something. It means there's still someone inside paying attention. A self you've silenced, but not erased. Self-awareness doesn't scream. It whispers. It tugs at you in the quiet moments. When no one's watching, when the smile fades. And all that's left is you. What would happen if you didn't rush to fix that silence? What if you just sat with it? Not judged it, not escaped it, just listened. That discomfort, the stillness beneath the surface, that's not your weakness, that's your invitation. Because the mask you wear in the world, it's not evil, it once protected you. But it was never meant to be permanent. You were not born to perform. You were born to feel, to speak, to be seen. Not for your smile, not for your success, but for your soul. So here's your choice. You can keep polishing the surface, or you can begin the slow, sacred work of returning inward. Not to become someone better, but to remember someone real. That's the heart of psychology. Not fixing what's broken, but welcoming back what was hidden. The world doesn't need a shinier version of you. It needs the one beneath the smile. The one who dares to come home, thankful looking,